Hello and welcome to Akwa Ibom Digest on the Papyrus Global TV. I am Christiana Babayo. Here are the headlines. Akwa Ibom Contractor Mobilises Community to Reject Senator's Christmas Gifts. Group criticizes Akwa Ibom government's plan to sell state-owned power plant. Akpabio hands out fishing boats to empower riverine women in Akwa Ibom. NCDMB Wedgwood train 250 Akwa Ibom youths in market-driven skills, distribute starter packs. Akwa Ibom affirms support for Tinubu's direct funding policy for local governments. Oil industry leaders pledges to advance ideals of Obolo people in Akwa Ibom. And now the news in full. A government contractor and political figure in Akwa Ibom State has sparked controversy by publicly mobilizing residents of Ikot Abasi local government area to reject cash and rice gifts from Senator Ekong Samson ahead of the 2027 elections. In videos circulating on social media, Uwem Okoko, CEO of Hensec Integrated Services Limited, urged community members to turn down the senator's donation of 2,120 bags of rice, saying the gifts were demeaning and inadequate relative to what other leaders had provided. Okoko, whose company executes major state infrastructure projects, told gathered stakeholders that the community should decline Samson's offering, asserting that locals do not lack money and rice to eat. He also compared the senator's gesture unfavorably with larger donations made by the state government and other elected officials during the festive period. Political analysts see the dramatic rejection as entangled with intra-party rivalries and election positioning, noting that it publicly undermines a sitting senator's goodwill ahead of a critical election year. Critics of the stunt argue that such public spectacles risk reducing political representation to handouts and cheap theater rather than substantive development outcomes, a concern raised by local observers who say leadership should be judged on infrastructure and policy, not seasonal largesse. The Open Forum for Humanity organization OFHO has criticized the Akwa Ibom state government's reported plan to sell the Ibom Power Company, a state-owned power generation asset, warning that the proposed move could undermine local energy security and harm long-term economic interests. OFHO described the initiative as ill-timed and lacking adequate stakeholder consultation amidst ongoing challenges in the state's power sector. Ibom Power Company, which has struggled with operational inefficiencies and limited capacity utilization, remains central to Akwa Ibom's aspirations for reliable electricity supply and industrial growth. Critics of the proposed sale say that privatizing such strategic infrastructure without clear guarantees for improved service delivery or protections for jobs and local interests could be counterproductive at a time when residents and businesses already contend with unreliable energy. OHFO's statements urged the government to instead prioritize transparent reforms, performance audits, and public engagement to strengthen the plant's viability, rather encouraging investments in upgrades and partnerships that enhance capacity rather than outright disposal. Riverine communities in Akwa Ibom State have received a significant economic boost as Senate President Senator Godswill Akpabio distributed fishing boats and equipment to hundreds of women engaged in artisanal fishing. The initiative, aimed at improving livelihoods and expanding income earning opportunities, was welcomed by beneficiaries who described the support as transformative for their families and local economies. The distribution event, attended by community leaders, local officials, and women groups, saw the presentation of outboard motors, boats, and safety gear to empower women fish processors and traders who depend on aquatic resources for their livelihood. Akpabio said the gesture is part of his broader commitment to inclusive economic empowerment, ensuring that underserved riverine communities benefit from tangible support that aligns with their traditional occupations. Women who received the boats expressed gratitude and optimism, noting that the equipment will reduce their dependence on rented canoes, cut operational costs, and increase productivity during fishing expeditions. The Nigeria Content Development and Monitoring Board (NCDMB), in partnership with Wedgwood Investment Limited, has trained 250 youths from Akwa Ibom State in market-driven vocational skills and provided them with starter packs to begin their entrepreneurial journeys. The training program was designed to equip young people with practical competencies that match industry demands and enhance their employability. The initiative, part of a broader skills development push, focused on hands-on training across sectors including welding, fabrication, electrical work, ICT skills, plumbing, and other technical trades. Upon completion, participants receive starter kits such as tools and equipment relevant to their trades, enabling them to transition immediately into self-employment or small business setups. Officials from both NCDMB and Whichwood emphasized that the program is market led and industry aligned, intended to address unemployment by matching youth skills with real economic opportunities. The starter packs were presented during a formal graduation ceremony attended by government representatives, community leaders, and youth beneficiaries. Youth participants thanked the organizers for the opportunity, sharing that the training and starter packs have given them confidence and practical tools to build sustainable careers. The program is part of ongoing efforts to upskill Nigeria's workforce and expand youth participation in key economic sectors. We will now go on a short break, and when we come back, the news will continue. Stay tuned.
The Papyrus Global, we don't just cover events, we create cinematic experiences. From red carpets to birthdays, gala dinners, and your fairy tale weddings, we bring your moments to life with high-tech precision. Our gadgets are smarter, our lenses sharper, and our team simply world-class. Trust the Papyrus Global to tell your story in the boldest, brightest way possible.
Welcome back, and now the news will continue. The Akwa Ibom state government has publicly backed President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's directive for direct federal funding to local government councils, aligning with broader efforts to strengthen fiscal autonomy at the grassroots level. State Commissioner for Information Aniekan Umana stated that Governor Umoeno has consistently supported financial independence for local councils, even before the Supreme Court ruled that allocations made for local governments must be paid directly rather than through state governments. Umana noted that the state's 31 local government areas have already benefited from enhanced development activities, with the governor refraining from interfering with council funds and allowing local authorities to execute projects, award contracts, and run empowerment programs independently. He described the president's directive not merely as an instruction but a moral imperative to uphold the autonomy of the third tier of government and accelerate grassroots development. Officials pointed to visible improvements in community services and infrastructure across the state, attributing these gains to the implementation of direct funding and the alignment of state policy with federal reforms aimed at deepening democratic accountability and transparency. A prominent oil and gas expert, engineer Cosmos Oron, has pledged to champion the interests and aspirations of the Obolo people following his election as president of the Mbandiak Obolo Foundation, also known as the Obolo People's Converge. The inauguration of the new executive council took place at Ulok Ulok Hall in Ibeno local government area, drawing Obolo sons and daughters from across communities in Akwa Ibom State. Engineer Oron, who hails from Okoroite in Eastern Obolo local government area, committed to upholding the traditional values and development goals of the Obolo people. He outlined plans to position the foundation for a credible voice for unity, advocacy, and sustainable progress for Obolo communities, locally and in the diaspora. His leadership agenda prioritizes strategic partnerships, effective engagement with stakeholders, and initiatives that safeguard the cultural heritage and economic interests of Obolo land. Members of the foundation welcomed his election with optimism, expressing confidence that the new leadership will build on the groundwork laid by the outgoing executive. During outgoing President Eniereng Apostle Honorable Samuel Eka's remarks, he acknowledged past achievements, including the acquisition of land for an Obolo House headquarters, a milestone for the socio-cultural body's visibility and operations. The ceremony also saw the induction of newly elected executives for the Ibeno and Eastern Obolo chapels, reinforcing grassroots coordination and outreach. The Mbadiak Ubolo Foundation remains a central platform for advancing unity, welfare, and prosperity for the Obolo people worldwide, with its 2025 annual Converge marking a significant moment in the organization's evolving history. And that's all we have on Akwa Ibom Digest on the Papyrus Global TV. I am Christiana Babayu. Thanks for joining us.